In a previous video, and I'll provide a link in the description below, we discussed the idea that originally we as the BMS industry, we gave up energy management systems. And then we gave up building analytics. And I think in that video, I might have suggested that the next thing that we're going to give up is third-party monitoring. Fire panels, generator, lighting control systems, hydraulic panels. My personal opinion is that if we continue to operate and do business the way we have been for the last 10, 20 years, I think that the BMS companies will be left with just providing monitoring control of the HVAC control system, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, the mechanical control system. That is all that we will end up looking after. In this video, we're going to discuss the next thing that I think that we're going to give up. Well, we never really had this, but it's certainly a revenue stream, money, this is my wallet. We're going to leave money on the table for somebody else to come and take up because we don't want that money. Energy management systems, building analytics, and now cybersecurity. We don't want it. Come and get it. Because in our service departments, we are too busy walking around looking for broken things, and we're not focusing on everything else that's more important. So I'm creating this video because I personally have a problem. So I am creating BMS upgrade specifications all the time. And over the last 12 months, I have been further improving on my cybersecurity clause within the specification. Nothing too complicated, just this is what we should be doing for building management systems in buildings. But it's gotten to the point now where the BMS companies that I'm tendering out to, these are the right type of companies for these types of buildings that I'm run the tender for. They're fit for purpose for these buildings, but those companies cannot do basic cybersecurity stuff. So I'm sitting here thinking I need to issue something that's fit for purpose for the building and protects the customer, etc., etc. But these BMS companies can't do this stuff because if we're completely honest with ourselves, after 20 years, we still cannot manage unique usernames and passwords. If we can't have unique usernames and passwords, how are we supposed to have firewalls, VPN, and antivirus, plus about 10 other things? So I'm sitting here thinking, what do I do? Do I tender out a BMS specification to the BMS companies and then break out the cybersecurity into a separate specification? And then who do I tender that to? Do I tender to IT or network type companies? Or do I pick 3 BMS companies that are good at cybersecurity and let them do that? So I would have the same 3 companies tendering for cybersecurity on all of my projects. And then I have a variety of BMS companies that I can go to. Like, what do I do? Because ultimately, having 2 separate specifications, a lot more work for me to create the documents, run the tender phases, all the interviews and presentations and the analysis to come to a recommendation, to do all that work. And then plus the building owner has 2 maintenance contracts, which is quite messy and probably will end up being more expensive in the long run. So really, we need the BMS company to be doing that. We need that bit of work to be done by the BMS company. And, we're just miles away from that. Every BMS company in the world needs to have a cybersecurity solution. If you install BMS systems, if you maintain BMS systems, you have to have a solution for internet security. If you have remote access to site, we have to do something. So here is your call to action. If you're a BMS engineer, ask your manager do we have a cybersecurity policy? Ask your manager that. Do you have this cybersecurity policy? Doesn't have to be a 100-page document. It could be a 1 or 2-page document. Do you have one? If you're a building owner or a facility manager, your call to action is ask the BMS company, please send me a copy of your cybersecurity policy. Not just for upgrades, also if you're doing maintenance. If you're doing maintenance for 10 years. If there is remote access, ask for this. In fact, even if you don't have remote access, you should still have a security policy for everything else in the building. If you're a consultant, your call to action is, in your specification, have one little dot point that says, please submit cybersecurity policy for review. That's how we have to start this. Let's start the discussion and start improving on this. Now, if you don't have a cybersecurity policy, which 90% of companies will not have, just start off with one page. If you don't know where to start, go to the manual for your BMS application, whatever the BMS is, graphics, alarms, and trends, and search down to the section called, Security Administrator, and copy and paste what it says in there into your cybersecurity one-page policy. Basic things like, is there a tick box to enforce complex passwords? Is there a tick box to say that every 3 months it'll force a password change? Every 15 minutes of inactivity, log the user out. All those basic things that all BMS systems already can do, which we don't set up, write that into your security policy. Do you know why we don't set it up? We don't set it up because there is no cybersecurity policy or minimum design requirements. We don't do it because there's no design process around it. And then you could go down after that and you could just describe the user groups, administrator, manager, engineer, view only, whatever the groups are, describe the groups and then describe the access permissions that each group has. Very simple because we do that already. Say there that we're going to have unique usernames and passwords. And I'm sort of carrying on about this, but every single job you go to and you review the BMS, there's one username called BMS company and the same password, everyone uses it. There's one username called mechanical contractor, everyone uses it. Client or whatever it is. We need to have unique usernames and passwords. If you go and read your customer's cybersecurity policy, so that's the building owner, their cybersecurity policy for all their stuff, it will talk in there about all these basic things, unique usernames and passwords, basic things. So once you've got the basics right, and there's no excuse for us not doing that because that's basic stuff, all of that, then go and describe what firewall do you use, what VPN do you use, what antivirus software do you use, bang, bang, bang. It's likely a lot of you don't actually have a firewall that you use. So task somebody in your company with a mini project to go and do some research on that and choose a firewall. It's not that hard because nowadays there are companies that provide like a plug and play solution. Like 10 years ago, you had to go buy a Dell firewall or whatever it was. You had to learn how to program the whole thing. It was a little bit difficult. Not even that difficult, but a little bit difficult. Nowadays, you can buy plug and play solutions. Really easy. So go do some research, talk about that. What's the VPN application that you're using? How do you use it? Blah, blah, blah. Antivirus. And then you can go even further down and describe things like, and this video isn't about cybersecurity, I'm just giving you a few pointers, but we install antivirus and then we forget about it. There should be a maintenance process around periodically the service technician or somebody else logs into the antivirus dashboard and looks at the log files. For all we know, we have big problems. We don't know about the big problems because no one's reviewing that. With the firewall that's protecting us from external threat protection, is somebody logging in to the firewall and looking at the dashboard and the log files if that even exists? I'm half making that up. Because for all we know, we're getting hit or there's problems. What is the maintenance process around that? There is a fee that can be earned by providing a cybersecurity solution, and there's a fee that can be earned every year ongoing. So let me think of another one. Maybe once a year, you write in your policy, once a year we do a cybersecurity audit. So once a year, somebody, a subcontractor or one of your own people, goes to BMS and does a cybersecurity audit of all sorts of things. So I reckon we could sit down right now for 4 hours and we could brainstorm and we could write up a cybersecurity policy for a BMS company, 1 page long, done. It's not that hard, we're just not thinking about it. I'm off to swimming training. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.